Hello, uh, viewers. Welcome to my liberation gospel today. I'm your friend and brother Ukachukwu Okorie. Today, I just want to go a bit historical and relate it with what's happening today in Nigeria. We've seen developments in Nigeria as a result of the Operation Python dance instituted by the Nigerian government in the southeastern Nigeria. And we've seen the attendant problems, the increasing loss of lives, the skirmish, and one wonders or ponders on key things. But I decided to go a bit historical on, Nigeria political history. You can see from what I want to talk about, I said ALUTA CONTINUA. 27 years after the Gideon Orkar Coup. Many of us still remember the Coup, though I was very small that time, but I've been following developments in Nigerian politics and general history from my time as a kid. So looking at the motives of Major Gideon Orkar and his cohorts and what is happening today, one wouldn't take these two, the two era. You can't just take it away because though the coup failed, the coup that came up on the 22nd April 1990, that was the day of his broadcast, and he talked about key things. In his broadcast, he mentioned key motives of the coup plotters. Unfortunately, the coup was put down. Major Orkar is from Meadow Belt, because why I decided to bring Major Orkar coup is to just oppose it with what is happening today, because I have seen developments in other parts of Nigeria. Outside the southeast, you see many of our brothers, those who are not from the southeast and south, they've been going on supporting supporting the killing of protesters, and it's really disturbing. It's disturbing in the sense that the political direction of Nigeria, the mentality of Nigerians, the country as some of our so-called founding fathers portrayed it, it's the same. Because I remember one calling Nigeria a mere geographical expression, and it seems that is what it is, in the sense that in the current state, which we are, democracy, you have a right to air your opinion, as long as you are not shooting somebody. You can even say, "I'm going to kill you." In this part of the world, you can threaten people as long as you don't carry it out. Yeah, it might be against the law, but when there's full investigation and evidence is not found of you committing that crime, that's why there's courts. And it's unfortunate that the case against Mr. Nnamdi Kanu is in the courts, and the Nigerian government has taken this kind of measure, shooting people, killing on the streets. sending in tanks. Thank you. Somebody just tried to correct me here. He said not even protesters, my brother, but agitators, you know. So this is it's troubling. It's troubling. And we're talking about one Nigeria. We're talking about the unity of Nigeria, saying that the unity of the country is sacrosanct, it's non-negotiable. We beg to differ on that, because we have a right to say it is negotiable. We have a right to say, look, we are tired of Nigeria. We have a right to say, look, the system, the policies, and what is going on, it is not to our interest. Then I decided to get on Major Gideon Orkar's motive, because what's in my place, they will say, you know, the issue in Nigeria is still on 27 years after Major Gideon Orkar's coup. The same problem is still there. And I want to really talk to you directly, because many of you, my friends, who are from different parts of Nigeria, have started contacting me, reaching me, telling me, Olumo, why am I doing this? Unfortunately, some of them they don't want us to debate, whereas others want us to debate. And many are beginning to be aware. Many know that there's a problem in the country, but they are too afraid to speak out. I mean, it's natural. Not everybody is going to speak out. That is why you have somebody like Nnamdi Kanu, because he's bold enough to represent his people. He hasn't instructed anybody to shoot. And with the way the Nigerian leaders are, their monstrous characteristics and nature, and I mean, they need to be threatened. If we can dish out jungle justice to a woman who just pilfered pepper in the market to feed her children, or to a young girl who had to rob mobile handset because she cannot afford to buy one, or to a man who had to steal pants in a shop because he wants to look good. I mean, why can't we threaten the leaders? Why can't we even dish out jungle justice to these leaders? Because they're not doing anything, because they are using us as pawns, because they have mortgaged our future, because they are killing us, because they are using our commonwealth, because they've sent their children overseas to school where they pay $20,000, $50,000, $30,000, and leaving our tertiary institutions closed. So, I mean, why can't we threaten them? Why can't we even shoot them if we have the chance? Because we can't just keep quiet. How must we keep keeping quiet until when? When will the problem be sorted? I mean, there was a bill to restructure the country, and it was thrown out. And you and I know that the 1999 Constitution imposed on us by Abdul Salami Abubakar was not a creation of Nigerians. We never gathered to discuss, because I know if the generality of Nigerians gather together to fashion out a constitution, they will fashion out a constitution that will be generally accepted by the majority. I'm not saying that everybody must have his way, but at least we sit down and discuss on how there will be progress in the country. So I said, let me bring up the Major Gideon Orkar's coup and juxtapose it with this era. I mean, the reasons. I don't want to start reading out his speech. Many of you watching me are old enough to remember, you know, the reasons that gave them the audacity to strike, despite the fact that they didn't succeed. But I mean, that coup and impact and the reasons for that attempted push or change of regime still lingers on today. It still lingers on today in the sense that a few have mortgaged the system. A few want to render every other person a slave. And some people find it funny. Others want to take it like that. Some people have decided to say, look, since you people doesn't want to change the system, they want to have their own country. I mean, you can't say, I love Nigeria. You don't love Nigeria more than I do. These people that are talking about having their country, they're all scattered in every part of Nigeria, trying to create wealth and prosperity for the land. And you said they don't love Nigeria. No. I mean, some of you, even in primary school, read social studies. You know about the early nationalists. You know about the Herbert Macaulays, the Nnamdi Azikiwe's, and Obafemi Awolowo's. We read about them. So you want to tell me that what is happening today in Nigeria is still okay? Is there progress? And we say we are in a democratic state. We cannot say our opinion. We cannot say things are bad. We cannot differ with the present policy. And people are being shot. Then you see Nigerians see it as positive development. So I decided to bring on Major Orkar Coup, in the sense that if you go back memory lane and read that speech again, you see that these guys were part of the setup that fought in the Civil War, but at the end of the day, that victory became a tragedy. It's a tragedy in the sense that, I mean, there's a book by Alabi Isama. There was a book Alabi Isama wrote. That was, I thought it's 2013. The tragedy of victory. I mean, the victory in the Civil War now offers a few, the whole juices. I mean, there was even no victor, no vanquished. Yet, Nigerians are suffering. It's not about the Southeast. What the Southeasterners are crying, you still find it in the Middle Belt. You still even find it in Core North. You still find it in Southwest. This is not an Igbo thing. It is not an Igbo thing. I mean, because many people, because of the fact that these warped leaders, these devilish leaders, are now using religion and tribal differences to hoodwink our people. I mean, some people want to take issues like that. Others doesn't want. Others are asking questions. They're asking questions. They don't want to take it. I mean, some of us furthered our education based on our own sweat. I mean, what did Nigeria do for me? I've served Nigeria in many capacities. What did the country do for me? I came abroad. I had to pay my way for my further education. Nigeria never paid. Many of my friends from the Core North, they're getting scholarship. They're in good paying jobs. I mean, you have to suffer to get a job. Some people are writing online, these protesters are jobless youth. Why are they? They're jobless, of course. If they have jobs, they won't be protesting. Some are saying they are hungry idiot. Yes, they are hungry. If they are not hungry, they wouldn't have time to agitate. I mean, nobody would have time for getting back the issue of Biafra. If Nigeria, it's okay. I mean, the youth of Nigeria, everybody's keeping quiet. An old man who is old enough to be taking his pension is still a president. And not only that, he has nothing to offer. But because of the fact that this country is divided along tribal lines, along religious lines, we don't see anything bad in that. At the inception of independence, 20-something-year-old guys were running the system. You as a Nigerian, at 30 years, many of us have not even decided on what we want to do. Many of us are even still fighting to get admission into the university. Many of us are still struggling to feed. You see, in Nigeria, adults of 30 years, 40 years are still feeding off from someone. I mean, we are hungry. That is why we are protesting. I mean, if we have something to eat, we won't have time to protest. If we have jobs, we will not have time. I mean, abroad here, you see, people have jobs. Yes, they have time, they can protest, but it will be once in a while, and it will be a protest based on improvement on maybe their pay or something that is secondary. But we are protesting in Nigeria over primary issues, over imbalanced structure, over a few hoodwinking the rest. And you see Nigerians from other parts of the country feeling it is okay for the military in a democratic setting to go and start shooting agitators, people who they didn't even see with gun. I mean, what do you expect when you have a Fulani commissioner of police in Anambra State, or in Abia State, or in Imo State? Knowing the fact that this country is divided along tribal lines, and we're saying we are running a federation. If we are running a federation, you have to get a Lagosian to police Lagos. He will love Lagos because this is his state. He will want to create genuine peace. He will know families. And if there's problem, he will consult the families or send emissaries and say, look, okay, your son is causing problem in this state. We wouldn't take that. This is the first one. If we want the second time, we are going to do something. When you get a jihadist from Kano State or Adamawa to police Abia State or to police Anambra, what do you expect? Knowing fully well that there's mutual distrust in the country. This is a country that is sitting on a keg of gunpowder. There's no peace. There is political instability. There's economic imbalance in the country. What do you expect when youths are not working? Of course, what do you expect? So I decided to go memory lane on this issue. Looking at what energized Gideon Orkar, yes, they may have died. But you and I, or researchers, or those who are conversant with the political history of Nigeria, know the reasons why they struck. And juxtapose it with what is happening today. I want you to juxtapose it with what is happening today. It's not all about Kanu. This is not a Kanu issue. It is not a Kanu issue. I am not a member of IPOB, but I don't fancy what is going on in Nigeria. And you do know, I don't want you to talk because you are an appointee of a government. It's not about risking, stop risking your lives. If Nnamdi Kanu wants to fight the Nigerian military, he should do it alone and leave Ndi Igbo alone. Your parents and family need you alive. Don't commit suicide for a man whose family is in a safe haven in London and he has a British passport. I've always said it. This is not an Nnamdi Kanu issue. This is a typical Nigerian issue. If Nnamdi Kanu died today, the Ihenebeni Gakwanebe, Collins Oguzie Uju, I'm talking to you. You yourself, yeah, I see you campaigning for what's his name? The governor of Anambra State. I don't want you to start talking to me because you are an appointee of a state governor, or you because in Erita, when you are getting something, then every other person should go to hell. No, I don't want you to talk to me on that. I want you to raise issues. I want you to raise issues. It's not about risking life. Risking life so because of the fact that we are risking life, we should keep quiet, and these things will continue. It is not about a Nnamdi Kanu issue. No, we have governors. What have the governors done? You are campaigning for the Anambra State governor. What has the Anambra State governor done? I'm asking you, Colin Oguzeuju, what has he done? Is he not an Igbo leader? And Majoge, you're talking about risking life. Risking life. Are we going to keep quiet? If you want to keep quiet, just shut up. Keep quiet. Some people won't take this issue. If you know me very well, you know that I wouldn't take. I'm a principled person. It's not all about money. Money is not everything. And you can go to sleep and die. So, it is only God that owns, that holds life. If my time has reached, my time has reached. Nothing. People are dying every. That's why I decided to get Gideon Orkar issue and just oppose it with what is happening today in Nigeria. It's still that same issue. A clique. Though Gideon Orkar didn't call names, we are calling names. The problem of Nigeria is the Fulanis, because the rest of the Nigeria want to sit down and talk. So how am I risking my life? How am I risking my life? Because we know the problem. We keep maruling. We keep running around, beating about the bush. You said I'm risking my life. So does it mean that our people wouldn't have leaders again? Can't we have people who will stand up? Look at the whole governors. Nobody's talking. So you want to tell me if your family is invaded, your wife taken, your children taken, you cannot even shaka, you can't even resist? Is that what you're telling me? It's sad, but we have to be resilient. We can't keep quiet. So on the April 22nd, 1990, Gideon Orkar and Co. struck. Yes, they died. But it is good to die for something. Any man who doesn't have principle is not a real man. If you cannot stand up for your family, if you cannot stand up for your children, if you cannot stand up for your people, then you should shut up. You're not supposed to talk as a man. It's not about that, because one way in the next 100 years, in the next 100 years, most of us will live, won't be alive on this planet. So are we going to? We are not immortal. We are not. So Gideon Orkar talked about this same few benefiting. Alabi Sama discussed about it more. I want you to go and read that book. It's not me that wrote that book. Some of you have read some of my books, particularly my book on the political history of Nigeria, Nigeria Whips. I was arrested and detained because of that book. Why must that? This is the society we operate in, and that this is very bad. Why should, when you air your opinion, then people start advising you? Why? Even in this society we find it, things are not El Dorado. But that's the essence of having democracy. People fought to have democracy in Nigeria. So I brought about Gideon Orkar and said ALUTA CONTINUA. The struggle continues. It must continue. We cannot keep quiet. Revolution and change doesn't come so easy. It doesn't come easy. Because if you keep quiet, if we keep quiet, these problems will encroach and come into your bedroom. And you just sit down one day and your wife and your children will be taken away. Don't think because I am in Dublin, that is why I am talking like this, or I am in London, or I am in Washington. No, it is not. Anywhere I go, I stay on my principles. People are more important to me than material things. Yes, we all love material things, but the greatest investment is to invest in people, is to encourage your people to grow, is to help each other. I mean, you cannot tell me you're a good leader. You are campaigning for the governor of Anambra State, my brother. You have to advise the governor. If the governor gets involved in popular projects, he will be loved. I mean, he will be loved. People, he doesn't need to even campaign much or spend more. People will vote for him. People will always support him. So I want you to go and advise Ebeko Odike, or whatever he calls himself. Many of my friends are working for him. There are some of them, even one of the governorship aspirants is a friend of mine, Tony Woye. Tony is my friend, my very close friend. He's not even a distant friend. He's a very close friend. But there's a way I do, you know. I want the system to be okay. I'm not interested in whether you are Fulani or you are leading or not. It's just that we need things to go normal. There's enormous sufferance in Nigeria. Agitators, people that are protesting without arms and ammunition are being shot, and you want to keep quiet. And our leaders are all quiet because a few want to subject the rest to perpetual slavery. My friend, I just want to put him to his size. You know, thanks for reminding me, Chukwu the work Austin. He said, Olumo, forget that guy with his governor and attend to something seriously. I decided to point him out because I know him. I monitor things. I monitor people. Many of our people, I said it before, some of us actually are not Igbos. Do I start talking about things we don't, things that my people have hidden for a long time since the end of the Civil War? I said it before, one of my aunties had 2 kids for an Hausa soldier. She later came back because she refused to be changed to a Muslim. You know, they carted away our women. They're still doing it now through cash and money. Impregnating women, because my dad and my uncles told me that before the Civil War, that Igbo girls used to do a lot of shakara. So that war was something serious. So they now had to use that opportunity, raping women. You know Nigeria now. You know, but that is beside. Gideon, Orkar, and Coup struck because of some reasons. Reasons being that after the Civil War, a few hijacked the victory and, you know, mortgaged others to perpetual slavery. So I look at, I've joined many forums, Gala, Edo, and Co. You know, I decided to join them because many are still in bondage. They need deliverance. I mean, you are against those agitating. You are not better off than them. You are not better off than them. I mean, you that is say these stupid jobless Igbos or IPOB guys agitating for beer fraud. Tell me what you are doing. Tell me your feelings about Nigeria. Tell me your feelings about Nigeria. I was discussing with an Irish woman early this morning. She's been away from from her country. She lives in Switzerland for the past 40 years. So she was telling me, she works with an agency there. She was telling me how, as an 11-year-old girl, or something, I don't know, that she was involved in when they were raising funds during the Civil War and stuff like that. and the woman complained seriously about what Nigerians are doing, drug dealing, you know, a lot of things. And partially, I accepted what she said, the blame and the pains they do have. But you know, these things, there are remote cause of it. Many of us come abroad, we sweep the streets, we clean the toilets, we do many a job, even despite the fact that we even come here. Okay, another friend is right, Frank Statesman. If Tony Moe cannot speak as an aspirant against what's happening now, is it when he becomes a governor? Food for thought. I didn't say, because if I say it, they will say I am campaigning against my friend. He's just contributed to, look at that statement. He said, if Tony Moe cannot speak as an aspirant against what is happening now, is it when he becomes a governor? Food for thought. And this young man is from Anambra State. If the governor of Anambra State, Willie Ukachukwu Okorie, cannot issue a statement or deliver a press conference and say, look, President Muhammadu Buhari, please, we want you to withdraw members of this Operation Python Dance. We don't want it. It's causing instability. Buhari made a statement when Jonathan, when Ihejirika was chief of army staff, when they went in full force against Boko Haram, Buhari made a statement. Northern governors went to White House. Some of us are fools. Northern governors led by Kwankwaso went to the White House to meet Obama and complained against Jonathan Goodluck, that Jonathan is killing northern youths in the disguise of fighting Boko Haram. What did we do? Can your governors in the southeast do that? Common statements against presidents, they couldn't do. Northern governors traveled all the way from Nigeria. Check the records now. I thank God some of you are coming to coming to hear what I'm saying. I can see few of you. I want you to listen, because I'm not interested in, I'm not a member of IPOB, and many of you do know me. Before Nnamdi Kanu even emerged, I've started standing up for the interest of our people and for Nigeria. And I've been doing research, writing books, so that you don't start saying this one is Nnamdi Kanu follower, or I'm inspired by Nnamdi Kanu. I've been doing this for a very, very long time. So some of you that are on board, I want you to reason. Northern governors traveled all the way from Nigeria, led by Rabbi Kwankwaso, to the White House, and they complained to Obama against the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Because today, when we are talking, you remind me that Nigeria is a sovereign state, and that I am talking against the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Then what about northern governors who went all the way to report Jonathan Goodluck that he is killing northern youths in the guise of fighting Boko Haram? What will you say about that? There's one of my friend, my old schoolmate, Chimeze Nnawa. I see you. You always coming to talk against this issue. I want to put you to your place. I want you to raise issues here. I'm not just here to blab. You know me very well, right from I respect you. Yeah, you're a mathematician. I know you very well. So I want you to raise issues here. Let's talk about it. Let us talk about it. So you cannot just say people should shut up. Why should they shut up when their people are being killed? Why should they shut up when there's structural imbalance in Nigeria? Why should you say these boys agitating our jobless youth? They are hungry touts. Why wouldn't they be hungry? Are there any jobs? Must everybody go to school? Come abroad here. Many people did not go to school. You see carpenters, you see bricklayers, you see artisans. You yourself, my friend Chimeze Nawa, you live in the UK. You see most of them are not, they didn't even visit the four walls of the tertiary institution, but they are well off in their skills. Common mechanic in Nigeria or carpenter. We run away from all these jobs. But when I came abroad, I saw that, man, you can feed from your handwork. And we do have all these things in our place. But because of the fact that the issues raised by Gideon Orkar 27 years ago is still lingering, that a few doesn't want Nigeria to be okay, then what do we do? Do we just give up? My brother, it's only a dead man or woman gives up. We can't give up. I mean, there must be people who must champion our issues. And we don't hate anybody. I don't hate the Fulani. No. Some of you do know. I have, in fact, one of my best friends in Nigeria is a Fulani guy. And I still love him up to tomorrow. I love him. I love my fellow human beings. I want progress. Yeah, statement. I see. I always return. It's not about staying. If you listen to my program yesterday, I gave an Igbo proverb. I said, "Onye njenje konyi isia woma." You yourself, you know, you're a businessman. You know, when you travel, you get ideas. Yes, when I was home, I was doing a lot. But since I have traveled, I've gained more in knowledge, in experience, in contacts, in dealing with people. It's very, very important. Some of you, I know, some of you are saying, go home with bad intention. But I was in Nigeria 4 months ago. So I'm not running away from my home. I will never run away from my home. While I keep talking about this, it's because I want to come back home permanently and stay. Many of us abroad, though even some guys go back home. They want to. There's no place like home. I mean, there's no place like home. Why should somebody be afraid that is going home? Many of our brothers and sisters are abroad here with their children. They wouldn't want their children to go back home. Why? And in that case, you see children losing their culture, losing the language, their way of life. When they grow up as adults and travel home, they see their people as like, you know, the way Westerners see them. Because they're not used to that. But when there's security, I talked about this yesterday. You can just go to YouTube on Africa World Newspaper or look at my page. I talked about these issues because this liberation gospel is aimed to educate our people. You that is an Edo man, you that is an Igala person, you that is Ejo, that is Yoruba, that is Angas, that's Hausa, that is even Fulani. I'm talking to, if we're saying we want a non-negotiable Nigeria, then Nigeria should accommodate all. I just hope it's fake. Before I started this broadcast, I saw a alert from Premier Times online that the Nigerian army has declared IPOB a terrorist organization. brothers and sisters, I want us to look at things, deeply. Not just perusing something on a cursory way. I want us to look at, are we not in a democratic setting? I mean, IPOB. Remember, I told you I am not a member of IPOB. I've met Nnamdi Kanu, yes, when he came here. But some of you do know me very well, so, and you can attest for me, so that I don't want you to start thinking. For those of you who doesn't know me, you say, look at one of these Nnamdi Kanu followers. I'm a typical Igbo man. I reason before I do things, and not only that. And even if it is not about being Igbo, if you are from any part of the world, as long as you are doing the right thing, I will always help you. You might even criticize me. Yes, as a human being, I could say, yeah, this I may not be happy, but I will learn from you. I will pick correction, and that is development. So, and if we are in a democratic setting and you expect not to be criticized, then you don't need to be there. You don't need to be there. So I don't want to keep digressing, but you have to understand that in this tree talk there must be branches that I have to lay hand on. So I took the title ALUTA CONTINUA. 27 years after Gideon Orkar Coup, because what the motive why Gideon Orkar and Co struck is still there today. I'm not taking everything Gideon Orkar said in his speech, hook, line, and sinker, but key things that he said is that the country is run by a few. There's privileges for a few against the majority. We do know, but many doesn't know. But we have to make them understand, and that is why, it's nauseating that I come online, I see Nigerian youths, I see my friends who are Edo, I see my friends who are from the northern part of the country and the southwestern part of the country, or even southern part of the country, coming up and clapping for soldiers, shooting agitators without arms. I mean, remember, this is like, it's like a football. If you hit it on the wall, it will return back to you. Tomorrow, it will be your turn, and you start crying. And when you don't see those who are bold enough to speak for you, speak up, you will now turn and say, this country, because that is what happened. That was why the Gideon Orkar struck. That was why Alabi Isama wrote The Tragedy of Victory in his 2013 book. I want you to go and search. That man fought against Biafra, but he wrote a book, The Tragedy of Victory, in which he dissected Olusegun Obasanjo's book, My Command. And Olusegun Obasanjo now wrote another one, My Watch, which he wrote recently, he launched recently. Because these guys are opportunists. Sorry. These guys are opportunists. The war was fought and won. You see, that clique, a few, now let those who help them, the British, have their chunk, their share of the oil wealth, the Shell, the multinational companies, in which the indigenization decree of 1971 allocated shares among them. The British maintained their conduit pipe to keep ripping Nigeria dry. Whereas, even some soldiers who fought for that in the war were sidelined and ostracized. They were just cut off, let alone the generality of Nigerians. Yoruba country is still there. It's not about, I know many benefited among the Yorubas, but I'm talking about the larger Nigeria population. Yorubas, Edo, Eshan, Egala, Ejo, Igbo. You see, we are all in the same shoe. We are all suffering. We are all suffering. Go to every country in the world. You see Nigerians. This is not about Igbo thing. Sorry, it's not about the issue about Biafra. Is a question on Nigeria. It's a question on Nigeria. The boys and girls agitating for Biafra, they are hungry. Yes, they are hungry because the system is bad. They are jobless, as you have been saying. Yes, because there's no employment. Don't think because I am abroad here, things are okay for me. Many people are abroad, but they are suffering. But because of the fact that the system back home is very bad, you see, they stay put here. Many are ready to go to prison abroad than to return to Nigeria. You can imagine. You can imagine that. I've seen where in many Nigeria forum, whereby some Nigerians will say, I want to go to prison abroad than to remain in the country. Can't you think about that? What does that mean? It should be a judgment on the system. Yes, we blame ourselves. We blame Nigeria. It must start from Nigeria. No. But, I mean, the idiosyncrasy of a leader guides his organization. That is why you have strong characters being leaders. Because when they are in charge, they use their authority to change the system. And that is why my Bible tells me that when a wicked man is in charge, the people suffer. But when a good man takes charge, there's praises. He provides food for all. He provides employment. He creates an enabling environment. He's compassionate. He thinks about his people. A leader will not tolerate to just see his people dying, even if they don't like him. Many leaders have died because of their carelessness, because of their love for their people. You see, their enemy will manipulate and finish them. A leader should have that compassion. If you don't have that compassion for your people, you are not supposed to be there. Look at in the southeast. Look at Afarugu. I mean, this you're talking about Nnamdi Kanu. Is he not in court? Don't we have judiciary? Then why is there the courts? Why are there courts? I mean, so to say, why are there courts? I mean, he has a court case coming up. The federal government has taken him to court. You see why it is important that we need civility in the corridors of power. Because, I mean, this is why the government is very important. It's essential. Because man is an animal. If there is no law and order, if there is no decorum, you just see somebody you hate and kill the person. But that is why you have law and order. That's why you have democracy. That is why we fight against military regime. Because democracy brings about debates. Democracy talks about three arms of government: the executive, the legislature, the judiciary. Each of these three arms is very important. They form as a check to the other one. I mean, when we have the executive have overriding powers over the legislature and the judiciary, then we are in trouble. I mean, you can just come and be hunted out from your bedroom while you are with your wife or with your children and summarily killed. This is what we saw and fought against during the military era. And we are seeing it today. I mean, in a democratic setting, you have the right to demonstrate and protest, even far rights, over issues. That is why we have the National Assembly. Debates, laws. I saw an article in Premium Taz that they've tagged IPOB, a terrorist organization. Who gave the army the audacity to tag IPOB? Is Nigeria under military rule? Don't we have a National Assembly? I mean, we don't have a court of public opinion again. Yes, we can differ in our arguments. We can differ in our arguments. But at the end of the day, superior logic stands. And the logic is that the system in the country is bad. There's a great structural imbalance in the country. Many of you do know about that. And that was why 27 years ago, Gideon, Orkar, and Coup tried to change a military government. Yes, their heads went in to the bed. We are happy today. We are in a democratic setting. We can talk confidently. Anybody who has issues with me should take me to court. We go to court. That is why we have a National Assembly that make laws. Unfortunately, our own National Assembly is peopled, as a matter of fact, from a warped constitution, from a non-people's constitution, from a constitution promulgated into law by a decree, from a constitution put together by a gang. Because I know if the Yorubas, like they've issued the Ibadan Declaration, the Yorubas, the Igbos, the Ishan, the Ibibio, the Efik, the Angas, the Gwaris, the Nupes, the Fulani, the Hausa, the Birom, the Tiv, the Idoma, if they come together and discuss, like we discussed in the last government, but Buhari, your son Buhari, came and put the document in the bin after Nigeria wasted billions of naira, but because it didn't favor them. So this is why we need to wake up. This is why we must continue talking. No amount of intimidation or killing will stop this agitation, because it is real. It is not born out of anything. It is real because the suffering is there. You cannot just because you are an appointee of the state government, then you can come and you start cursing me. You cannot just because you are sleeping with somebody who is in government, or you are married to a Fulani who is benefiting, or you are a stooge or a puppet, or you are an hallelujah boy, then you want to silence us. It can never happen. Some of us were born for this struggle. Somebody must be born for something. This has always been in my heart, that our people must be okay. Nigeria must get better or be partitioned. It's as simple as that. We're not against Nigeria not getting better. We are talking of Biafra because we know the people we are dealing with. These people we are dealing with, they're not human beings. They don't have regard for life. Why they don't have regard for life? Because they have monopoly. Because they think they have monopoly for violence. Because they have, they are in charge of government. So they are using the instruments of the state to intimidate, to kill others. They're using the instrument of the state. My brother, anybody can be in power. Like I said, power is transient. Another person can be in power tomorrow, and all the rubbish Buhari did, he'll just take it and put it in the bin. But we don't want that. Government is a continuous process. Democracy grows when a new government continues from the next government. And moreover, the most important thing about democracy is that it is the government of the people, for the people, and by the people. The Latin people will say, salus populi et suprema lex. The welfare of the people must remain the supreme law. If the welfare of the people doesn't remain the supreme law, brothers and sisters, when injustice becomes law, resistance becomes a duty. So you can't blame people for resisting, because people must always resist. If you like, kill Nnamdi Kanu or shoot Ukachukwu Okorie. New generation of guys who wouldn't tolerate this mess, who will continue. You and I know that this is true. You know that this is true. So you can't be saying this. Yes, in a group, there will always be bad people, renegades. It's normal. I mean, in the army, there are good guys in the military. There are good guys in the Nigerian police. Of course, there are good guys in the Nigerian police. But the bad eggs will use that. There are a lot of mad people, you know, crazy people, charlatans in the military, in the armed forces. Trigger happy. We know that in Nigeria now. That you will even wear camouflage. People wear, you will not even notice that they are military. Some of you that are easily challenged, you live abroad. Don't you see these things? Ihoma on Afo. Don't you like good things? Don't you want your neighbors to be okay? Don't you want people to be gainfully employed? You are saying, you are calling agitators hungry idiots. You are calling them all sorts of names. Jobless bastard. Yes, they are hungry. They are jobless. If they are job, they will respect themselves. They will even be happy. They will be proud Nigerians. So you cannot just stand up because you are getting your share, then every other person can go to hell. No. This is why we have leaders. This is why we have positions of authority, to make sure this country I find myself, there was a time I used it as an instance. It's a small country. They had this kind of issue in Nigeria. It's a small country, but they defeated an empire, a British empire, and got independence and declared a republic. Few guys, as of then, they were called renegades. In 1916, took hold of a public building called the GPO and challenged a big, that is machinery, a political machinery. An empire as at then, a powerhouse, the British Empire, and tried to take away. They were crushed. They were executed. But 2 years after the execution, the whole population just erupted. And they said, no, their blood now watered. The resistance struggle. The blood that was shed of this Irish nationalist became a catalyst for the Irish Republic. And because of what that is similar we do have now, they had two forces then. Forces that were sympathetic to the British authorities and forces that were real nationalists. But the most important thing, they succeeded in getting the republic. What it cost them was the northern parts of their country was chopped off because the British used a system then pushing migrants from Britain into Northern Ireland, peopling that Northern Ireland, empowering them economically and otherwise, making them to progress and enlarge so that they will have a foothold in this emerging republic, because they know that more and more Irish men and women are beginning to challenge the system. That is why you have today Northern Ireland that is under the United Kingdom, whereas you have a Republic of Ireland, which is the southern part of the country. But what at the end of the day, these two forces, yes, before the North, these two forces emerged in the south because already British has permeated the way what we have in our system now. You see, since after the Civil War, the wrong people have been created as our leaders, criminals, charlatans, idiots, who will easily mortgage their people to be in power. And they now have money. We now bow to them because they have money. When somebody comes out to run elections, when he doesn't have money, people will tell him, go and sit down. Ojikwanego. When you don't have money, people will look down at you. They will no longer look at those things that have been a source of courage, that have always distinguished us, that people want to emulate from us, that people envy in us. Those things that have distinguished the people from the Southeast. Principles. Those principles. I mean, check the Igbos before the Civil War and the Igbos after the Civil War. You know that they are not the same. That is why you see some people come out today, despite the fact they are seeing their people being hunted down, massacred, killed on broad daylight, and they will open their mouths and be supporting evil and be castigating their people. Those who have stood up to challenge the status quo. This Irish, these two forces had to clash immediately. They succeeded in getting the republic. They had to get involved in civil war immediately. But the civil war didn't last because the enemy were using the other people, arming them. But the civil war didn't last. They now immediately, they just recognize that after all, they are brothers. They had to make peace immediately and came together as brothers. And today we have a Republic of Ireland that can independently stand on their own. Today, Scotland is still struggling. Scotland is still struggling. Wales are under the Northern Ireland. That is why you always have problem in Northern Ireland. Because those brought in by the British were empowered. They're the ones ruling. And that's why you see the problem between Catholics and Protestants. Because the Republic of Ireland here, originally before the new generation starts changing it, are Catholics. But you see the power of that Catholic nationalism in Northern Ireland. So this is what is happening in our place. And we must wake up. We must open our eyes. We must disperse this message. We must inform the rest of Nigerians. We are not against a Jaws. We are not against a Galas. We are not against Yorubas. We are not against Hausas or even the ordinary Fulani. We want progress. And if you don't want progress, let us go. When we go, we know that we are going to have problem among ourselves because already the elite has been created. The governors are there who cannot stand up when their people are being killed. If they are representing us well, will we even be talking about this Biafra? If they are representing us well, if they are man enough, if they call themselves leaders, Buhari will be afraid now to even come and get into Southeast to talk to our people or to kill anybody. Who is Buhari? Is Buhari not a human being? Is it because he's in charge today? Yesterday now, Buhari was demonstrating. The other day, Buhari was demonstrating. He demonstrated against Obasanjo. He demonstrated against Jonathan Goodluck. But because today he's in power, that is why he's using the institution of states to deal with our people. I want you to remember that today may be your day, tomorrow belongs to another. That I cannot eat today does not mean I can't eat tomorrow. That I don't have a good car today does not mean I cannot have a good car tomorrow. That I am not in charge today does not mean that I cannot be in charge tomorrow. You are not my God. So this is why we must stand up. Those saying we should not talk. Can you hear our governor so many? I want you that is campaigning in Anambra elections. All the aspirants, including the incumbent governor, what have they done? Our people are being killed. These are our youths. I mean, these guys are not armed robbers. They are saying that they are jobless. They are saying that they are hungry. They are saying that we lack federal presence. For how long must we? My friends are telling me that we will benefit in a bigger Nigeria. Yes, we know. We are even champions of a progressive Nigeria. But we have been doing that. When will it end? You know, when I say something, they say I'm going to the extreme, that I'm committing treasonable felon. But my brother, when injustice becomes law, resistance becomes a duty. It's as simple as that. So this is what Gideon Orkar saw in 27 years ago, that the middle beltons are being used, that the government is now for a few and a clique, and they tried to usurp power. Yes, they died, but today, I want you, a middle belton, tell me how you feel. This is not a Biafra thing. It is not because I am Igbo. I want you, how you, after all, I'm abroad. I've been going to school. I went to school. I've published books, 9 books. I cannot go hungry till the day I die. How do you feel, you that is Igala? How do you feel, you that is Idoma? How do you feel, you that is Nupe? How do you feel, you that is even Yoruba? You that is Ishan? You that is Edo? How do you feel in today's Nigeria? Is everything okay? Is everything okay? No, if everything, just, I want you to go into sober reflection. Search deep into your heart. Because you were used. You were deceived. Your fathers were deceived into fighting against Biafra. Think these Igbo people, they are going to dominate you people. They are going to, yes, everybody has his or her character. I saw the clip from Amadou Bello, former Sadwana of Sokoto, the first premier of Northern Region, who said why they hate Igbo is that when you put an Igbo person in a labor camp, he will try to work his way to become the head man of the camp. Is there anything wrong with that? I mean, don't you want to be successful? You go to school, you want to make a first class. You go to school, you want to make a 2-1. You go to school, you want to be the best in the class. You are a lawyer, you want to be a senior advocate of Nigeria. You are a medical doctor, you want to be among the best practitioners. You are a surveyor, you want to establish your office and be a chartered quantity surveyor. You want to be a chartered accountant. You want to be a chartered administrator. You are a carpenter. You want to be the best carpenter in town. You are a bricklayer. You want your bricklayer laying office to be very busy. I mean, you want your name to be synonymous with success and top range quality. Is there anything bad in that? You have a shop. You want your shop to be big enough from small kiosk to becoming a shop and into a supermarket. I mean, tell me the problem in that. This is why the South is more progressive than the North. But not that Northerners wouldn't want to progress. It's because there's a system there that is holding them down. There's a system there that is holding them down. A fiefdom is being run there, whereby they're not encouraging them to go to school. They're not encouraging them to go to school. But if you come to the South, you see, because your neighbors have gone to school, you want to go to school. Because you have a friend in class, your friend got A in that course, and you got B or you got C. If you're a good person, jealousy is not a bad thing, but positive jealousy. There are kinds of jealousy. My friend got A. You want to make A in the next one or in the course so that he knows that you are intelligent too. Sometimes your friends spoil you. Sometimes your friends inspire you. As a girl, you want to marry a promising young man. Or a man, you want to marry a promising man. You want to marry somebody that will be your hero. Because when you don't have a boyfriend or a husband who is like a hero who you can look up to, it will make you sometimes lose respect for him. And a man, if you want to marry a woman who is beautiful in the heart, my people say agwawuma, somebody who has that good character, that character that will make you to look, not to look at any woman, because you know that what you have cannot be gotten. That your woman, that is why you see, you know, you value your woman. Your woman is your everything. I remember the song, you know, my woman, my everything, you know, that kind of thing. So in the South, you see, because we are neighbors, we inspire each other. They want to look at their neighbor. You see the way your neighbors are progressing. That's how, you know, in my place, when they say we are Republicans, you see this town puts electrification. The next town will contribute money. You know, it's a town thing. You see, during Christmas, there's football competitions. You know, a lot of things are now, platforms are usually go to church now, they'll be calling village by village. This village will now give 20,000 naira. The other village will say, okay, so this village has given 20,000 naira, we're going to give more than them. You know, healthy competition, there's nothing like that in Nigeria. The North is jealous of the South. And when they call the North, it's not everyone. The Middle Belt is not like that. Democracy has exposed their nash. They always say, one North, Arewa. Which kind of Arewa? It is not. We cannot be deceived. That's why I keep telling my people, look, the Hausa and Fulani are different. It is only in Nigeria that these leaders that are not even educated enough try to sink it into everybody that Hausa Fulani. No, it's not Hausa Fulani. Typical Fulani. Some Fulani have refused to even mix years ago, 27 years after Gideon Okakiri. Just oppose it with today. If there's any change, there's no change. A few is still in charge. Gideon Okar talked about it. How Domkat Bali was removed. That he was even the person that gave credence to the Babangida administration. How a Bitu Kiwe was booted out of power. Do you know why a Bitu Kiwe was booted out of power? A Bitu Kiwe revolted that why should Babangida put in Nigeria in the Organization of Islamic Countries, and he was kicked out. Gideon Okar talked about the removal of Domkat Bali. Some of you who are old enough, we remember that. Domkat Bali, a bit Ukiwe, Professor Tam David West, and Mr. Aret Adams. Retrenchment of Southerners and Middle Belters then. I want you to look at, he talked about the same thing he talked about then. Is still to do. Just look at Nigeria, 27 years after. Corruption, dishonesty. They are talking of IPOB. You that is talking of IPOB. Do you know we have Hizbah in the north? Hizbah. Hizbah is a group, policing. The other time, was it how many? They keep breaking thousands of bottles of beer, barring secular Nigerians from having their way. And they will still come and get allocations from value-added tax, which comes off these goods in the south. I mean, who is fooling who? Who is fooling who? We are talking about barren IPOB. The Fulani headsmen have constantly maimed and wiped off families. And you don't talk about it. You don't talk about it. And you are here blabbing your mouth about IPOB. Has IPOB shot anybody? Have they killed? I mean, the Fulani Herdsmen has killed thousands. We have Boko Haram. Look at the tanks. Look at the tanks. The Nigerian army that cannot annihilate Boko Haram. They are venting their anger on jobless youth, on youth that doesn't have employment, on youth that are not catered for, on youths that have been excommunicated from the mainstream society. They're talking about 3 hours after the Civil War. What did they set up a commission for Northeast. They go and borrow money from China to build railways. They're not even putting in Southeast. And you want us to keep quiet. And the same billions that is borrowed, we are going to pay it. We are going to pay the money because the oil is found in our place. They keep talking about trying to break us and South oil, this and that oil. No. Telling Igbos that they are not Igbos. An Igbo man will just wake up and say he's not Igbo. Shamelessly putting him or herself in identity crisis. Shall not be our cause. That is why this is liberation gospel. We must be liberated. It is not about listening to me. I want you to help. It is not about my message. This message is something that is generational. Because if I die today, it will continue. The Bible said that God said, even if we cannot praise him, he is going to raise stones to praise him. So when injustice becomes a law, resistance becomes a duty. Any person that is the Bible, are you not a Christian? Ecclesiastes 7 7:7 says it. Operation maketh a wise man mad. I mean, if you're a good person, you cannot just see where where somebody is suffering and you can assist and you keep quiet. No. Even Quran talks about it. Traditional religion talks about it. That is why you see, before even Christianity and this and Islam came, our ancestors believed in God. It's wait and take. When you do something bad, nemesis will strike on you. That same laws that is today has always been there. Today, don't covet your neighbor's property. Don't sleep with your neighbor's wife. Don't go against your fellow human being, especially when the person's hands are clean. This is why I'm not afraid of anybody. I fear nobody. I only fear my God, because He has my destiny. My destiny has been there before I was born. So don't be afraid for me. If I am going to die, I will die. It is not you that will save me. I may die young, I may die very old. The most important thing is what I believe in. It is between me and my God. Thank you for listening to me. My name is, again, Ukachukwu Okorie. I want you to disperse this liberation gospel. It's not all about listening. Knowledge shared is knowledge. And that is what I love. I want to be an instrument to make sure that our people get ourselves. Our people are waking from their slumber. That those that are sleeping are awoken. Those that are tired are energized. Those that are weary are jacked off and their strength renewed. Nothing, don't be afraid. Nothing is going to happen. They are testing the will of our people. It's not about Biafra. It's not about Igbo or Ijo or Ibibio. It is about Nigeria. You, that is Nigerian youth. What is your future? They say the youth are the leaders of tomorrow. Are you the leader of tomorrow? You are getting old. You haven't even realized. You haven't realized your destiny. Somebody who was a president before you were born is still a president today. Somebody who is not in the things of the modern times is still in charge. Somebody who doesn't have that mentality of today's world is still running affairs. And you are easily hoodwinked and thinking it's all about religion, it's all about tribe. No. When a finger dip into oil, it touches all. We are talking about the Republic of Biafra because Nigeria has refused to sit up. And the rest of the Nigerians are just keeping quiet. They want to take it like that. They want to become slaves. They've already given up before they attempt a resistance struggle. But it shall never be our portion. In the mighty name of my own Lord Jesus Christ, it can never be our portion. Thank you for listening to me.